In.
Oh. What is this for?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TNO. And I'm super excited because today I've got not one but two guests. And first one comes in the shape and form of Hilgard van der Huyssteen. I think that's how I pronounce it. Am I correct there, Hilgard?
Almost there. I think for any English guy, you didn't do too bad. You got the down, so that counts for something.
Thank you. That's because I'm from Pretoria. I gotta know a little bit of something. And then second guest, we have Nicole. Austin, I nearly said your previous name there. Lots happened for both of you during this lockdown. And obviously, Nicole is the runner-up of Survivor Season 7, Immunity Island, amongst other things. So, guys, how you been keeping up?
Good. It's good to see you. Good to finally be here. Listen, I've been campaigning to get on your show for years.
Hasn't he been beating down your door? He's been at my door and I've just said, no, sorry, I can't.
Yeah, Hilgard's been tough. He's been tough to get a hold of. I mean, geez, no. I don't know. You do a whole bunch of other things as well. What is the other thing that you did, Hilgard?
Oh yes, what are the other things that I do? No, man. I mean, I'm just a general guy at home, stay-at-home dad. Well, not stay-at-home. I'm staying home now because it's lockdown. But yeah, doing the dad thing, slurping up Survivor in every single format that we get, and yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Okay, that's not too bad. And Nicole, what have you been up to?
Life's been busy and exciting. Like you said, I got married in December, which was very cool, to that crazy guy who traveled across the world to Samoa to see me on day 35. And been working my tail off, working in communications with my agency, but also climbing a lot of mountains. We've been having a lot of fun all around South Africa, tagging the highest peak in every province with my organization Uprising, and taking cool groups of people up to those points. And then in between that, spending a lot of time with the family and the zoo at home.
It's a fun zoo. I don't know if you guys caught Jason's zoo last week's episode. The guy whipped out chinchillas, pigeons, pit bulls. He had everything. So real zoo. Yeah, and it's a private zoo.
Listen, if I leave today and I don't have a pigeon named after me, I'm going to be very disappointed.
We'll have to talk to Nicole. I don't know if you're renaming your pets, but Hilgard, is sticking his name out there. He wants something.
Hey, it's not a bad one. So we still haven't found out whether my snake is a male or a female. Currently, her name is Meredith Brooks.
I'll take it.
If it turns out it's a guy, it could definitely be a
Same, mate. Same.
Also, I just want to comment on the one thing. Nicole, when you say you climb mountains, I think a lot of people generally use it in a metaphorical sort of sense. And you're literally saying, no, I'm climbing mountains to the top. That's what I do. So I love that. That's one of the things that really gets me. I'm like, I'm still waiting. You finally on TNO. I'm still waiting for one of the invites to climb a mountain, but I'll wait for that invitation.
Standing invitation. Anytime you like, come climb with us. We're always climbing. And it's actually it's simply walking uphill and then walking back down again. It's not as profound as it sounds.
Just like that.
It's a lot of fun. With really cool people. Rob's actually come with us. I don't know if you saw a while ago, Rob and I climbed Mufadi, which is the highest point in South Africa. And we did a tag team challenge to see who could make it up first. I was robbed again. But
that's a nice tagline that seems to be working for him. All right, guys, let's kick off the show. The first segment we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing the Golden Spear. And for those of you who haven't joined our show before, the Golden Spear is the award that we give to the player in the episode who's made the best move and has landed themselves in good way moving forward for the rest of the game. And with that being said, guys, please, let's hear those nominations.
This was for me like a proper difficult episode because I've probably got about 4 people that I consider like standout players for this episode. So I mean, for a second, like Carla for me really stepped up in this episode, and she's become like the silent assassin in the background. And I don't think she's necessarily going to be on a lot of people's radar. So yeah, I really like the way she stepped up in this episode. So maybe I'll throw her name into the hat so long as one of the potential players for a Golden Spear.
Into the first one there.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. She was a bit of a dark horse that came out, which was very cool. But I think that most players, even the favorites from episode 1 for me, made more questionable decisions than good ones. I think everybody has almost started playing a little bit hard, a little bit fast, and everybody is putting themselves in hot water. And I think even the ones that are not playing and more silent, that's a poor decision in a very active game early on. So, listen, I'm no expert, but I have to give my nomination to, I think the only guy who did pure gold good is the one on your wallpaper there, the King Dino. Man,
Yeah, he was quicker off the blocks than I expected. When we saw him running, I was like, geez, I had no idea he had that pace. He's keeping up with Paul.
Yeah, listen. So, I mean, I don't know if you saw Paul, but Paul pulled a stiffy there on the water when he ran in. So, I think for Dino to kind of match him all the way was some serious props. So, I would second a Dino nomination.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dino, you guys have some valid ones there. Color's an interesting sort of candidate. The only concern I have with her, she's got the ally in Mike, but she kind of forced that vote, whereas the others are still seem like they're stronger, they're more integrated together than what they are. I feel like they're isolated, and that vote went their way, but I think they're going to come short moving forward. The Dino one, I think fantastic. The guy's obviously he doesn't run a puzzle business for nothing. I mean, he really showed his worth, and I think that first challenge, he wasn't even considered to do the puzzle, which I find bizarre, which also shows like how low he is in that pecking order from a social currency perspective. I don't know, Nicole, when you're looking at being out in a social sort of perspective, I don't know if I'm still working because you guys, there we go. From a social perspective and climbing the ranks, when you started in Saula, we had Paul that was completely isolated. How does one like Dino try and find his way back into the game?
I just think he has to relax. It's an energy thing. And I know this sounds really crazy, but having been there to say your energy that you put out is either attracting the people around you to feel safe and secure, or it's making them feel anxious and high alert. And this very nervous energy that Dino puts out there was similar, I suppose, to Paul as well. There's something off, something you can't put your finger on, you can't trust. And that edge really puts everybody else on edge. And I saw some of the people that had this nice, calm, confident energy when they came in have now started overplaying, and they're starting to have some of that nervous energy as well, and they're getting doubted and second guessed. So it's a very fine energy balance, and I think that's one of the things that Rob had in our season for sure, is this calm confidence without being arrogant that makes people feel safe.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if I can add to that, Claudia, I think if you come into this game, and it's something we're seeing a lot with this season, is we've got a big cast of super fans, people that know the game and the ins and outs of it. And I think just walking into this game and really wanting it that bad, because this might potentially be your only show, has just like immediately ticked people over into, I need to make this move like from the get-go. And I laughed when kind of Dino's promo shots and things came out that they spoke about this paranoid energy. And that's what we've seen. And I think it's because you really appreciate the chance that's been given to you. And maybe that's kind of what happened in the first episode.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Nicole, you touched on it before we went live. You were saying from your season to this new season, you said you'd also be tripping right now if you were playing, based on how hard these castaways are going at it.
I think to keep your cool right now must be incredibly difficult, because it's this build over the 39 days of this pulling away, segmenting fractions, discussions, watching people go and have conversations, getting pulled in, building this map in your mind. That is such massive anxiety, and we all chat on WhatsApp together now afterwards about this PTSD, this post-traumatic survivor disorder that we have. To watch it unfolding. But this is so early to have this much scheming going on. It is intense. I don't know. We definitely didn't have it on this level. Well, I really don't think we didn't play this hard, this fast, this early on. But I would like to discuss this comment at the bottom of the screen here, because I have some thoughts on this. And me super being the social guru. Because I think from first episode to second episode, Claudia, I don't know if you saw the difference, but I foresaw her tripping herself up, because it was a very cool social game to play. But then to walk out of your second tribal council crying That's a
Yeah.
failure of your social game.
Yeah, I mean, I found that I wasn't sure if they were sincere, to be honest. That was the one thing, because it comes across like you saying, you know, you're not going to be writing this person's name now, and then you're writing it down. I mean, you've had this experience, Nicole, where, you know, you write down the names, you show some tears, and you are generally trying to be authentic, and maybe the people around them aren't perceiving it that way. And I think Dino has experienced the same. He cries. So I don't know if people really think he's genuinely crying or he's actually just playing it up. And that's a type of thing, especially when you're saying everyone is super, super paranoid as to whether or not this is going to go down well at all. Hilgard, what do you think?
Look, so I don't know, and this is based off of the pre-game interviews and the social media interactions. I feel like both with Dino and with Anesu that those were legit reactions. In that they were upset. Anesu was upset that she had to vote someone else out that she didn't necessarily want to vote out. And Dino, I think it's been such a build-up for him now after the first tribal council that just kind of redeeming himself in the moment was like, oh, thank goodness, you know, I'm not in this position anymore. And I think Nicole will probably tell you this, that, you know, there's a lot of emotion that goes into this game. And sometimes, you know, crying is just the way that you kind of let it out. So I felt okay with it. And I think there was a bit of I don't want to call it a backlash, but there was some response on social media saying, well, I mean, is this a proper cry or not? But
guys, just look down here. We've got Sean Wilson. Thanks for joining us, buddy. We're going to be critiquing your sort of game sometime soon. I think in this episode, you came out all right. You did well in the challenges, so fair enough, but not worthy to get nominated within the Golden Spear. But I just want to come back to the Anesu sort of thing. She's in the mix. Despite the tears, she's with Warda, she's with the other side of the chappies. She kind of knew a lot of what is going on. And again, that reminded me a little bit of you, Nicole. So it's just interesting as to the social capital. It's something she does really well. Do you see similarities? I know you're picking out the flaw there of her crying very early on. And considering this is a 39 game, is that too early to be feeding such emotions?
I just think it's giving your game away a little bit. If you are going in there to play all the sides, one of your sides is going to lose. So, you know, you're either in it or you're not. So I know that's what's coming from me. I get to judge now, okay? I've been there now. I can be a thing.
It's a lot better on this side.
Yeah.
I liked more the side of her that was very cognizant that she was playing all sides. But then now it's time to sort of own that and say, okay, I am playing all sides. But it is also going to catch up with you because when people see whether you're trustworthy or not, you know, it's going to be called into question very quickly by a lot of people. I thought that, you know, I was a little bit interested to see her dynamics changing with different groups. I thought she had a little bit more pull than she did.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm not getting the Anesu sort of nomination there. Hilgard, do you want to say something?
So can I tell you just what was like probably the most ironic statement in this entire episode for me coming from Anesu is, I think she was in a conversation with Warda, if I remember correctly, and she turns and she says, I don't know whether I trust Paul because Paul is too social. And this is exactly what everybody's been saying about Anesu being so social and being so connected and in every single alliance. And it's like pot calling kettle black, where she calls someone out for being social, but she's playing exactly the same game.
But also Paul, guys, I'm not going to say he's worthy of the wooden spoon because the man is safe. But also, what kind of game is Paul playing? The man is St. Paul. He's building a structure. Everyone goes to tribal council, votes either, Mike or Pinty. And then you've got Paul going, no, Warda, I don't like her food. I'm going to vote for Warda. I mean, like, explain that to me. How does someone like that work? He's a real enigma. He's an enigma. I don't know. Does he have like Durang sort of tendencies?
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought when I saw that move. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Doesn't make sense.
Well, Durang made it to the top 3, so here we go.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we've got you, Nicole, in terms of Durang and the social game that you played. Personally speaking, I actually think you were one of my votes as to should have probably taken Survivor from a different perspective. Rob got given a lot of the credit. I saw the game from another perspective. In terms of managing a player like Durang throughout the game, was it easier than it looked, or was it actually a lot harder?
No, it was easier. He's actually a really genuine guy to read, especially when he lets his guard down. And I think Rob and I got him that side of him. He's really funny, and he'll have a good chuckle and a laugh with you about the lies he told other people for us. And I think it created a lot of trust when we had some good laughs about it. I must actually say, thank you for the compliment on my game. I really appreciate that. But I am loving this season of Survivor already, purely from the fact that you're allowed to play. I think our season, as fantastic as it was, because it will always be my favorite season of Survivor, it was very much, it was taboo to play hard and be the snake in the competition. And that was portrayed as the villain versus the hero. And I think the whole hero-villain thing has come through very strong, that thread, but it is also now celebrating the villains. And that's what Survivor should be about. So kudos for that. I'm all for that.
Guys, our very own, what should I say, first initial villain, so to speak, has paved the way for the other villains to be so cool. And listen, own that title, because villains are far more to watch and far more they actually make the game happen. So enjoy that, Nicole. I say that with every single compliment. And I think, to be fair, like you said, and what Hilgard's already touched on, previous season, not as many super fans were playing. This season, a lot more people understand the dynamic and the game, which also then makes it very interesting as to touching on Inesu's tears going, she is playing the game, but it's already hurting her. So that is something worrisome. We do have Christu here saying Santuni's throwing her name out there for what she did. Anyone want to comment on that?
Definitely. Look, she was actually, so if I were to put my money down on someone that really deserves it this episode, it would be Santuni. I think just long term, what she did in episode 2 has given her maximum chance of going deep in the game. I mean, she's found 2 clues to 2 separate immunity idols. So, I mean, that really puts her in a very good position. I think she's solidified something good with Chappies and them, to the point where she actually, I think in the foresight for the next episode where she tells him she's got these clues. So, I mean, there must be a good relationship that started there. So I think she's put herself up very well. And the fact that when the whole Pinty and Carla drama happened, she was like, well, let me just take a step back. I don't want to be involved in this mess. You go against each other and someone else goes home. And I'll just sit here on my log laughing at the rest of you.
Yeah.
She's super cool. Did she find that idol at Tribal? I don't think she found it. I'm waiting for the episode when she needs it, when she stands up and says, I'm going to use my, give me a second, and then runs around scrambling.
Well, she did a lot of this in the tribal council.
A lot of whiplash.
Yeah, she must have such a sore neck after that tribal. I'm just afraid. I don't know if somebody else goes to Immunity Island, whether a similar clue to that same idol is going to be available for someone. And to Nicole's point now, Santuni gets up in tribal and goes, I want to play my idol, sticks her hand in, and poof. There's nothing.
I feel like that would be even better, personally speaking.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of hers, guys. I knew her before the game, only knew of her. She has the coolest online shop called Kwaito Cook Sister. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Cool. So, like, she gets props just for being a super cool human being. So I'm excited to see it.
Oh, that's exciting, yeah. And I've actually seen her store at one of the markets, and yeah, super, super cool stuff, guys. Go check it out if you haven't done that already. But one of the other things I'm pretty curious about, guys, should the actual concept of Immunity Island not get nominated yet? Because in both instances, we've got normal or usual first boots in the case of Toriso and Santuni being saved by the concept and now walking with advantages if they came out on top. So what do you guys think about that?
So I'd actually like to weigh in on this because I think that Immunity Island is what the Island of Secrets should have been last season. And I think this is, they've found a version 2.0 where it is actually an appropriate place to go to get an advantage or a disadvantage. And it's a little bit more clear cut. Ours was, for me, certainly a house of horrors, and I never really enjoyed my time.
This is the thing for me. I think like Dino caught a lot of flack in the last episode where everyone was like, oh, look at Dino going, help me, Paul, send me, Paul. And I understood the situation as Dino asking, to send me to Immunity Island, not necessarily for the immunity purpose, because he already had that around his neck.
Yeah.
But I was also wondering as to whether there's something else that sits on this island, either in the form of an advantage or there's clues to idols or things. And now we've seen Santuni go there. She took the initiative to kind of look under things and scratch in the rice and stuff, and boom, out pops another clue. So there's a lot more there than just the simple I lose a vote and then I'm safe at tribal council.
Yeah, man. And I just want to say, like, I've had LaRue on the show before. It's asking him, like, where potentially they would hide idols and that sort of thing. And he said, because, based on the US season, it just seemed to be randomly planted everywhere. And if you go looking, you'll find something. He said one of the things was he will never just randomly plant the idols somewhere. And when Santoni was sitting there and she was going, you know what? This is Immunity Island. I'm going to look. And I was like, there's no chance she's just going to find something, because, there's always something crop. And you know what? Credit to her, the concept of it being Immunity Island, boom, she found it. So yeah, fantastic stuff there. I was a bit impressed. And my girlfriend laughed at me because I said, there's no way there's going to be something there, just based on the conversation I had. It just shows you.
I think I turned the Island of Secrets upside down every time I was there looking for something, and I never found anything. I had to take mine from somebody else. I never really found one.
Yeah. Guys, Tyson's name. I just want to put, before we move on and go to the wooden spoon. Tyson?
Yes. Tyson is a strong competitor. I don't know. There's a lot of gold there still coming, and he's playing a reserved game, which I think at this point is quite wise. And I think I also have. I think there's a little bit of a spanner in the works coming for Tyson and Chappies with that whole dynamic.
That's an interesting one, and I like. What
I get a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead.
I get a lot of like Yul Kwan vibes from Tyson, that he's this like introverted, quiet guy that just looks at everyone and then kind of plans the game in his own head, and things just kind of come his way. Info comes his way. People share with him because he's not, I don't think, a threatening or an aggressive player. So he just, I think he's playing a good game.
Yeah, but the thing I liked is that he didn't have to do anything. And Pinter came there and revealed Chappie's advantage that he has. And he was like, dude, I've done nothing. So it comes back to the point that Nicole's saying in terms of the energy you put out there. If you're cool, you're calm, you're collected, especially in the early stages of the game, you will naturally draw people who are somewhat looking for a reassurance or looking for like a wall to lean on. So, yeah, man, super fantastic from my perspective. Okay, but we've got... Oh, I can also just nominate Renee's face for surviving that fall. Holy shit, that was a hard fall.
It was an entertaining one, that's for sure, but I don't think it was so nice in the moment.
No. Okay, so nothing there. All right. Okay, guys. So we've got Dino going from 0 to hero. You've got Kadla saying you liked what she did there. She held her hand up, and normally, she's got the famous last words. She didn't have them. She actually followed through with the words. We've got Santini for her idol play, and Anesu, Nicole wasn't having it, and then we've got Tyson. What are we thinking here, guys?
I'm going to go Santini.
Have we left anyone out? Have we left anything out?
I don't know. I feel like it's half the cast.
I actually have to agree with Hilgard. Santini is, I think that she won immunity. She got that ring on the hook. She found, she's got 2 advantages. I mean, how do you walk out stronger from that? I mean, and we know that the recovery for Dino was a remarkable one. But I don't think there could be a greater advantage if she's walking away with, and she walks away in tie-dye.
And she comes back into a tribe. Sorry, go ahead, Hilgard.
No, I think like the little smidgen of thing that puts Santuni above Dino is, even though Dino had such great strides in this episode, like immediately after he wins the challenge, Nicole Willman goes, oh, well, look at Dino. Dino is so great in puzzles, boom, big like target on his back. So, I mean, just going forward in the game, that's kind of put the target on his back now. So that's why I think Santuni probably walks out of the episode better positioned going forward than Dino did.
Yes, and she comes in being a possible extra vote that now people are going to be looking to. because of what's happened with the boot, which is also an interesting one. Chappie's going to be reeling, looking for another number, and we know how many steps he's planning ahead of the game, thinking he's super self-assured. But also, just on the Dino point, heavy is the head that wears the crown, man. He's done too well here. He's done far too well. Yeah. Okay. So are we agreeing? I think Christo also says Santonini. So I said Santonini. I feel like I'm going to Greece. Anyway,
something like that.
All right, you guys ready? We're gonna award it to Santoni. You ready? 3.
Santoni, that's it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Congratulations, Santoni. You have won the second Golden Spear for the season. So well done. We're now going to move on to the wooden spoon. And the wooden spoon is for the person who made the most precarious sort of move in the game that has left them in dire straits moving forward. So we're going to kick off with Hilgard. Let's hear your nomination. Then we're going to move on to Nicole.
So there's just something that I need to get out of the way. I know we just gave Santoni the golden spear, but I also want to give her a backhand wooden spoon for right after getting these advantages, sharing it with someone. I cannot believe that people so early want to share information about advantages. She's done it now. We're going to see Chappie's did it with the diplomatic immunity. And we see in the next episode now that Tanesu says, well, Immunity Island is no longer a secret. We know everything about everything. So although she's gotten the spear, I was like, why? I don't get this move. But yeah, putting Santoni aside, Paul and Pinty were probably the two people that I would have put up for wooden spoon. Paul for the fact that he did that Warda vote for absolutely no reason because her cooking sucked. I didn't know that was a valid reason. And that, I don't know, Nicole, maybe you could persuade me otherwise. Is cooking such an essential skill when you're on an island that people say, sorry, I want the rice to taste like this and not like that?
No, I don't cook on most days and only on the island. On the island, it's actually a pleasure to cook because there's no options. It's rice or rice. Spice it up, you can add a little extra seawater for salt. I think that was, there's a few other options. I don't know. What do you guys think about Kieran?
Yeah, Kieran's an interesting one. You can see he's definitely a consultant. And I've had some back and forth with him on Twitter because I used to be a consultant. And I was like, the man's saying all the right things. He's observing the game from a distance. He's not really getting stuck in. He's putting his toe in it. And he's kind of... But I don't think he deals well with Pinty's sort of Boston Rob-esque sort of confrontation. And I must say, apart from all the other stuff that Pinty did, that was one move where I'm looking at her and I'm going, she's assertive. She's super assertive. Obviously, she went across the line and became, what's the other word I'm looking for? Which is too aggressive. But the assertiveness to a certain extent put him on the spot and he ran away. And that didn't do him any favors. I was just like, okay.
Shame
it. To have people watch you backpedaling and running away and not having an answer. I felt like that was just a bit of a moment of weakness when he should have had a plan. You always have to have a plan B in your mind. If somebody asks you or interrogates you, you need to have answers, and he just had nothing. That was not a good moment.
No, it was a bit awkward because I think in that moment where Pinty pitches in his conversation with Anesu and she goes, who are you talking about? And he goes, Mike. But you could, he could have picked any other name, but throwing out Mike, immediately put him in the wrong spot here. And she just went balls to the wall to take this guy out in the conversation. And then she even says,
she's like, hey, do you mind? I'm just going to have a chat with Anesu without you. And he's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
thank you.
Who does that? I'm going to have a chat without you. Can you leave us?
In the game of Survivor. I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, you got Tony Vlachos building spy shacks, doing all things. He's always part of the conversation. Like you said, Nicole, maybe that was your strength. You're always 3-4 steps ahead. I mean, what would you have done in that scenario? What would you hypothetically throw another name in there, or what would you do?
Yeah, definitely. Throw in a name, but you have another name in your mind already for who you're not supposed to vote for. You tell people you're going to vote and who you're really going to vote. That's 101. So that for me, especially because Kieran was supposed to be so strategic, was a bit of a shocker. I don't think he was caught off guard, but that's a wooden spoon move for me.
I like that. I'm in agreement with that. Definitely. Guys, I just want to throw Chappie's name out there. I mean, you've already touched on... Oh, sorry, guys. I also spoke about Boston Rob. How was the little the challenge there at Immunity
ring.
Island. Yeah, that was from straight out of Winners at War. I mean, well done, Larry. Well done.
No,
Anyway.
that's a good nod to the franchise.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Nice way to tie it in. Okay, but Chappies. Your opinion, Hilgard. You started talking about Chappies. Before I continue, I want to hear what you say about Chappies.
Yeah, so Chappies for me is an interesting guy because, like, I have this roller coaster ride with Chappies. Like, I feel at the best of times he's super connected, he's super liked. He's obviously a very physical guy that people want to keep around because it's important for tribe strength. And then at other times, it feels like he's completely on the outs because now we have this vote happening on the last round, and you've got people that so easily want to switch over and vote out someone else. And like I think I made the comment earlier today that this season for me is just like completely savage. People have got no regard for the fact on whether you are a challenge beast, a puzzle king, or a whatever. If we want to take you out, we'll take you out. And even in the floating of a lot of these names, like Chappies' name comes up, and I'm like, what the F? How did this happen? Like, why Chappies? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, Chappies, I wouldn't have shared the diplomatic immunity information at all. Like, not at this point. Maybe at a later stage you can use it as leverage with certain players. But I think like 3 or 4 days into the game, how close can you really be with someone, and how trusting can you be?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I actually felt that way initially, and I like this whole comment. He's all over the place. But I've got a different idea about Chappie. Chappie came out so strong, and I still think that he is a definite favorite in this game, long term. And I actually think it's for the reasons you said. Because he's all over the place and because he's made mistakes. And he's got these weaknesses in his armor which make him a little bit more real and actually a little bit less of a perfect two-man threat. I mean, if you think about our season, we had like Rocco. Rocco's indestructible and just doesn't make a wrong move. Rocco has to go. Just a matter of time. So I think that there might be mistakes for healthy, but also I think that the information he shared is also a currency. And by sharing them with someone, sometimes it gains their trust, but sometimes somebody else finds out about it means that they're also able to come to them and find this currency later. It's hard to explain, but I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going to come out of it. A lot. It's a very complex character, which is very cool. It's not one of these plug and play heroes of the game. There's a little bit of life and a little bit of dark.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Nicole, you were quite soft there. I don't know if someone is doing the washing or there's someone's sound is doing something dodgy. I don't know if it's your side, Hilgard. There's something in the background.
It's running.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. As you were saying, you go continue there, Hilgard.
Yeah, so I think Chappie's like silver lining for this episode was probably the fact that he had the foresight to pull in Santuni, even before they had the selection for Immunity Island. That he said, "Listen, if bad comes to worse, we lose, and whatever. Someone from our tribe is going. If they use the same logic we used in sending Turiso, they'll probably send Santuni. So pull her in." Kind of get something together from a numbers perspective, and look, it paid off because that's what ultimately happened. And yeah, there is an information exchange between the two of them now, and Santuni, I think, to some extent feels safe with Chappies now.
Yeah. Just to touch on what Nicole was saying with regards to the people he's chosen in particular that he's aligned himself with. I mean, he goes with a Pinty who says game's all about trust. There's a reason he's gone with a Paul as well, who's voting someone off because she's got bad cooking. These are sort of, again, Durang-esque sort of characters, not thinking further. Obviously, Pinty was strategic in a way where she just honors game, but we know this is the Survivor 2.0 version. This isn't Season 7, the Season 8 with superfans. So guys aren't going to be so loyal to that. But for me, the interesting thing was bringing in Anesu. Not having the foresight to see that someone like this is quite social. She's already been chatting to everyone else, and yet he feels like he can include her in the conversation. I felt like you've been deliberate with the other two, and then you bring her in. Yeah. So
yeah. I think look, ultimately we'll see whether it pans out for him having someone in an alliance with him that has got fingers in so many pies. So I mean, maybe it comes to bite him in the butt at some point.
Again, I mean, is it a sort of Nicole sort of character that is he the Rob pulling the string here with Nicole? Is that what's going on here? I don't know.
I think there's a similarity there because she's almost collecting all this information like a web, and then going to report back to him. Although I don't think she's always going to give him the full story, and I think that one is going to be. I foresee some trouble between Anisu and Chappies in the future. But I think he's chosen some really good followers, which was smart, like your thoughts said. Well, yeah, I think you said it, Claudia. Those Durao-esque. I don't know who's doing dishes or washing things, but it's not me. Just disclaimer.
It's not us either. I don't know if someone's like hacking into the system and they're just like, yeah, we're going to do dishes.
Something like that, yeah.
Extra sound effects. Okay. All right. So who do we have? We've got Pinty, we've got Paul, we've got Chappies, we've got Kieran. Is there anyone else? I mean, Dino's done fantastic, but at the same time, it's been his downfall. It's like he's also done too much here. He's kind of redeemed, he saved his tribe, but then again, he does it in the next sort of challenge.
Yeah, but did he really have a choice, though? I mean, I think in this situation, you're seeing your tribe, is going to fall out and possibly lose and have to go back to tribal. And I mean, he had a very difficult first episode where people called him out, for reaching out to the other tribe. So I kind of feel like I understand his pain and that he would want to go all out and win immunity. And unfortunately for him, we had two puzzle components in both of these challenges, which I must just say I'm very happy about because it is, as a lot of people say, the equalizer on the field, because we've got a lot of muscular people there and physical people. And it kind of also brings it back to say, hey, we are recognizing other skills in the game. And if you can't have all-rounders, then you're not going to win.
Yeah, fair point. Fair points. All right, so what are we thinking? Who are we giving this to?
I want to do Pinty, unfortunately, because she is the person that's voted out. But so Pinty, for me, in the exit interview, makes the point about Mike saying, I didn't want to work with Mike because Mike came on too strong. And this is exactly why she fell in this episode, because she also came in like out of the gates way too strong. And like properly, I don't think she built very good relationships in this episode. She tore down the ones that she had. Because someone like Tyson, for example, starts the episode and says, yes, I like Pinty. She's coming to me with info because Pinty is the person that tells Tyson about Chappies' diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later, tribal council, Tyson writes down her name and sends her home. So that relationship is completely destroyed. And I mean, even Anisu votes her out.
Yeah. I have to agree with that. I think that definitely would be an award. Oftentimes, especially in the beginning, people are blindsided or sent home for the wrong reasons. And it's, like Jason last week, guys, I was so gutted because I wanted to see that guy play the game. I think there was so much more there. And I actually like a lot of Pinty's really confrontational attitude. But I think she just made some critical errors, really, really bad errors that it's just unrecoverable. And it was a very logical send-off.
Yeah, she definitely, I still think if it was an earlier sort of stage of Survivor, so maybe she could have gotten a little bit further doing what she did in your season. I don't think that sort of thing is going to fly here, where you're giving people a reason to kick you off the island, which is, like I said, there were the similarities, but I was like, Boston Rob, so cool. And then I was like, no. You can't be putting someone's shoes by the fire. Day 2, like the second episode. You can't be doing that. So yeah, Pinty. Okay, so we're all in agreement that it's going to be Pinty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ish, Pinty. And I'm, guys, if you have any questions for the next boot, then you can put them here because we will be chatting to her sometime soon to understand why. But okay, let's get that wooden spoon going. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
There we go. Sorry.
Unlucky, man. You get the wooden spoon. And then, guys, Storms is brewing. Predictions. What do we think is going to happen? What is coming our way? What do we have to look forward to? 2 blind sides out of 2 episodes. What's coming?
3 words.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, your buffs. Pop. Wow, that's early. Can we talk about that? What?
These poor people, like as if it's not enough that how did Mike put it, that he's wet to the marrow on this island. Like 2 tribals in, and Nico goes, drop your buffs, like poof, everything you expected Survivor to be, it's like complete the opposite.
Yeah,
So,
man. I mean, yeah.
You're talking about the cold. I actually think this is one of the precipitating factors. So for us in Samoa, the weather was really rough, and it caused us to be a lot raw and more exposed, more fractured early on. I think this is on steroids. I've actually seen some of the comments from some of the crew and the photographers that were working on the job, literally saying how tough it was to be crew on this set, because it wasn't just wet like it was in Samoa and slightly cold. It was wet and freezing cold continuously. I think
they had that challenge, and you see, I think it was Sean or someone, he's there in his lacquer jacket, and Carla is standing there in the spaghetti top, and this poor woman is shivering to death. And I'm like, did she not think about putting on a jacket or a jersey or something?
Well, they got jackets at least. We can talk about that as well. We didn't get jackets. I don't know why.
Why?
But I mean,
why? Did you guys? But I think it's negotiation on your part, Nicole. I think you guys should have, stuck it to the man a little bit there. You just rolled to the punches. Like, okay, we're going with nothing.
Yeah, I think it was just we were broken. Hey, we didn't ask questions. It was like the army; they break you and then they make you.
But I think so, Nicole, you touch on a point now. Like, this cold obviously makes a lot of people a lot more irritable because you're not at your best. But I'm sure that the cold or the horrible weather also has like that factor of bringing people together. I mean, because body heat, I suppose, becomes a commodity on the island. So you come here next to me, I'll keep you warm.
Guys, I watched those moments because they don't show much of that. There's too much time to have to show the drama. But they were not cuddling in that cave or under that shelter. Everybody's sitting on their own. Guys, we were all spooning so hard just to stay warm. We lost all our dignity. We were like one unit every time it rained.
So was this Sahula? But was this in the Sahula tribe? Because I think that's probably one of the reasons why you guys bonded. I don't think the other tribes are spooning, guys. I think that's a 101. 101.
Spoons for success. So not wooden spoons, but spooning in general. No, even from Sahula, even when we made it to Manamala, it was spooning all the way through. That's how you just stay warm and you don't care about anything else. But I think that the desire here, it feels like maybe that I'm totally wrong, and I'd love to hear from them themselves. But it feels like this energy is so competitive so early on. They're not even prepared to stay warm, to sort of show that they're close to people by sticking together. Maybe
I think the closest we saw was Paul leaning his head on Mike's shoulder. So there was a bit of a neck rub going on. I think that your ear probably kept warm. I don't think anything else. I mean, bone marrow certainly didn't help. Oh, okay. Nicole, I've got a question here. Would you play Survivor again?
You asked me that when I came straight off. The answer would be no, but now it would be in a heartbeat. It was, Nico said to us, I think right towards the end, he said, you're complaining, but one day you will wish to be back on this island and you will miss it. I can tell you, I will never forget on day 39, walking off that beach, looking back, thinking, I'll never be here again. And it is such an opportunity and an experience that no money on earth can buy. And it breaks you in the best way. Everybody on earth who lives and breathes should have a Survivor type experience. So yeah, I'd go again tomorrow.
Well, what do you think your chances would be if you went back? Really bad. Well, what if it was like an all-star, a whole bunch of players coming? We're already looking at this season, the super fans are playing. They might want to be aligning themselves. If Boston Rob can come back and be Boston Rob like 100 times and have a statue 4 times and have a statue after himself and still somewhat do okay. I mean,
we have to say here that I do badly, but we know differently.
Yeah, okay. I feel it.
At least negotiate for a statue then. That's the only takeaway from this now. Just get yourself a statue.
Use it for firewood. That's what you can do. Yeah. And shelter. I mean, it'd be cool to sleep in your own face. I don't know if that, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, about that, guys. Okay, so just moving on. Christo's saying possibly 3 tribes. You think that's on the cards?
I think so. I think they had good numbers now to go into 3 tribes. What I'm kind of looking forward to in the next few episodes, and I want to see whether the tribe swap or shuffle affects that, is Carla spoke a lot about a core three between her, Mike, and Kieran. But it seemed like as the episode evolved, that even in that core three, it was Carla and Mike that were the actual like tight two in that group. So I want to see whether like Kieran is as tight with those two as Carla said, and whether they end up in the same tribes in the next episode. Because I think they've got the potential to really make some good moves if they stick together.
I have a feeling that Mike and Carla are quite similar to Meryl and Dante in that their alliance will probably save them for a while, but it will also make them unliked by the other alliances. That's just
Well, yeah, I think that's a fair point, because when we were looking at Pinty's sort of reaction to everything Carla was doing and also not liking Mike, there was a reason. She just didn't like them off the bat. She's saying they came off strong. There's clearly a certain vibe they were putting out. And I don't know, in terms of the Meryl Dante vibe, Nicole, you can touch on that. What kind of feeling did they give off? Was it more of like a superior sort of feeling, or?
That's exactly it, Claudia. You hit the nail on the head. It's a superior arrogance. And I think as well as Carla played, I didn't want to give her that vote for the Golden Spear, because it was that walking out of tribal with this,
smirk, yeah. And she was claiming it in the confessional as well. In the confessional, she was like, I've got this, I'm counting my eggs.
It's always too early, guys. No.
But you talk about the smiles now. I don't know if you guys saw when Zamba came into the reward challenge, and this is now obviously where they find out that Jason's voted out. Man, did the Vuda tribe enjoy the fact that they had voted out Jason. Like, there were smiles across board, and I just thought, yes, you could do a better job to hide it, It's obvious for the entire world to see.
Yeah.
But also, does that not come back to the point that a lot of these players playing, there's a lot of undertone that's coming. Obviously, we're seeing it from the edit perspective, where we are assuming these people don't know each other, but a lot of these people know each other coming into the island. So, like, going back to like Dino referring to Paul, this isn't like a blank sort of canvas going, hey, Paul, help me. There's got to be something else in connection to all of this. Them getting excited about Jason is because I'm sure everyone saw his entry video. Like he said to me, he knows me because he saw my entry video like a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I mean, people do their research.
I also knew a few people from my season, but I can honestly say when you get there, it's gloves off. And that's often a big mistake, is to think that because you know somebody that you've suddenly got this reliable friend on the inside. It's not like that at all. You make new friends and you rethink whether those people are actually in your corner, because oftentimes they know you and then they already see you as a threat.
Yeah, and I think one or two of them might be experiencing that. I don't know, Nicole, do you want to elaborate on the ones that you recognized before?
So I obviously knew Leanne from the industry before.
Yes, yeah.
I was very sort of platonic about that relationship because it wasn't a threat or an alliance. It was what it was. But certainly from her side, I was an immediate threat. I knew CPAID from before as well.
Oh.
And it didn't really stand me in any better stead with her. I think I respected her more because I knew who she was, but I still had to win her over as an alliance and as a friend, because somebody like that can look at you and say, I got your back because we go way back. But do you? Are you just saying that because I'll believe you?
Yeah.
Is that what went through your mind? So you step on this beach and you see two people that you know. Do you go, oh, crap? Or do you go, oh, well, that gives me 2 votes?
No, you go, oh, crap, because they'll say that they're votes and why they're votes, but it's not as genuine as a brand new alliance that you formed, because there's always an ulterior motive, and everything is currency. So information is currency, context is currency. So, they're able to take any bit of information, even previous knowledge of you or interactions with you, and use that as a way to show that there's a relationship when there isn't. So you always have to look a little bit deeper and be a little bit skeptical.
Jeez, and in a game where you're already in your own mind, this just adds like an extra layer of paranoia. Incredible. Okay, cool, guys. So we're assuming it's going to be 3 tribes happening moving forward. Out of the players, who do you think are probably in the best sort of position for this spot?
Sure.
Scratching of the head there. I could hear it. I could hear that scratching.
All I'll tell you is that I think everybody I thought who was in a good position in the first episode is in a poor position now. And anybody who's maybe doing better now, we've seen them low before. I think everybody is precarious. Everybody has enemies. Everybody has somebody who doesn't like them. And everybody has somebody who's supposedly their alliance. So I think there's a very even, very messy playing field. Hilgard, I don't know if you disagree.
Yeah, look, I think these people are hypersensitive to everything. Like if you do well in a challenge, you're a target. If you're in social connections, you're a target, you know? So I feel like the people that are perhaps in the background are the guys that are going to survive the tribe shuffle a bit better because they can quickly sway or fall into a number somewhere. And although they may not be at the top of those numbers, they will not be on the chopping block as someone to go home. So I think someone like a Varda should be okay. I think someone like a Tyson should be okay. Although I think Renier made a very prominent move in the first episode, I don't think it was as prominent that he, ticked off people or that everybody was looking at Renier going, this is the guy. So those, I think the more background players are the guys that I think would be okay in the first round. I'm getting a bit worried about Denesu. We've spoken a lot about her now being this person with all this like social capital and investments everywhere. I mean, even her own alliance member in Varda says in the conversation, Anesu is like the head cheerleader here that everyone is going to, and she's like chief in charge. And I just wonder what happens to her position if there's a shuffle, whether she all of a sudden gets knocked down, because we've seen that happen, as Nicole says now. One episode you're there, and the next episode you're right at the bottom.
Yeah.
That was the most succinct summary of the show so far.
Congrats, Hilgard. That's why you're on the show, my man. This is good scouting. Yeah, we know what we're doing on TNO.
I'm really excited to see what happens next. I am also terrified because, guys, we had entertainment value in the beginning of our season, like a lot of it. We had the people that you're laughing at. We had Tanya. I mean, how fun.
Bank robbers.
We have very cool, funky, funny personalities. I mean, Ting Ting and just cool people. I'm pretty sure these people are also cool, but we're not seeing any of their cool. We're just seeing drama. It's like watching a horror suspense show the entire time.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that is a valid point. It's interesting because like we said with yours, there was a lot of entertainment, and partly maybe what we were lacking was the sort of strategic side, whereas here there is no room for that drama because it's just, like you said, it's off the bat from day one, and it's that's insane. It's going to be a crazy one, guys. This pretty much.
Sorry, I'm very keen to see what happens with the Chappies and Nisu dynamic going forward, and I want to see who's in which tribe, and I want to see who becomes the biggest threat first, and how they avoid it if they do. I think that take a lot of cunning to be able to get targets off of backs. And so far, I see those two with big targets on their backs.
And Thoriso, guys, how do we think it's going to shake up for her? Because, I mean, she's got a hell of a read. She's lacking the physical side, obviously, in terms of challenges and them seeing her as the Suri sort of character already.
I
think her summary of her being Suri was actually quite spot on. I know she likes Suri, but she's playing a game very similar to Suri. I think maybe not on the same social level yet, or maybe we're just not seeing it in the edit yet. But I enjoyed the fact that she was, scouting everyone out in the first episode, going, you know what, I see you, and hopefully she pulls a big move at some point.
Yeah, Nicole, you wanted to say something? No.
Yeah, I think that initially she worried me a little bit, but actually came through a little bit more solidly, and I think she could also play a good game. I don't know how far she'll get because she needs to make a lot of friends, but so far playing on the radar safely.
Okay, and I think that's a valid point. I think the social aspect is definitely lacking, and maybe not the best part in her sort of holistic package that she's offering. But guys, the funniest moment, you spoke about the entertainment moments. What is the funniest moment in this past episode? I mean, I've got one in particular. Okay, let's hear it.
It's this.
that was a good one, yeah.
Oh, that was cool. I like the fact that when Paul's climbing or someone's climbing, Sean is climbing up the top and he's trying to offer Marisha a hand at the top. She's like, no, man, no, buddy, I got this. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, why would you offer this lady? This is like, she could throw you over there. Also, I enjoy that. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm unfortunately one of those people that, you know, if you're walking in a shop and you bump into a glass door, I'll be the person laughing at you. So Renee's faceplant for me was like a golden moment in this episode. And, you know, the fact that I laughed watching it after seeing the preview every single day in the week preceding it is just like indication of how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will say I'm pretty impressed of how strong his neck muscles are because his head was still attached. I mean, credit to whatever exercise he's doing. Nicole, you do some CrossFit sort of stuff. I mean, he must be sometime joining the gym. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he's got some definite rugby history or something there. But wow. What's the preview? They showed us a sneak peek of that accident. I thought he was toast. I thought that was going to end a lot worse than it did. But he bounced. He didn't.
You know what other thing actually now comes to mind? So when they got to the puzzle blocks that they had to stack, so just before that, when they had to throw that off with the sandbags, I see Chappie's picking up the sandbag, and I'm like, this guy's going to throw 2 throws, these blocks are going to fall off, and there goes the first one, and it completely like falls 2 meters away on the ground. It's nowhere near the bench, and I was like, wow, that was a bit of a disappointment. Like, I anticipated everything to fall off in the first shot, so yeah, it was quite an anticlimax.
Yeah, that was a winning moment. He really put a lot behind that. And you just think you think it's going to be like a baseball moment where it's like, you're out of here. Meanwhile, the thrower's out of there. It was interesting. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. That pretty much wraps up the show. You've both been amazing. Hilgard, this has been a long time coming. Nicole, it's been even longer. So thank you very much. I hope you feel better, Nicole. Hilgard, I wish you all the best with the other things that you're going to be doing. Final thoughts that you guys want to drop off, and it doesn't have to be related to Survivor.
Go for it, Nicole.
Crossing the
crickets in my brain. Final thoughts. I think this is going to be everything that Survivor needs to sort of move forward in a positive direction. And okay, we were talking about this before the show. Can we celebrate the fact that they are proudly South African? They triumphed despite COVID and lockdown. They still filmed, pulled it off. World-class production, and it's showcasing our shores. And I think that we get maybe some international seasons coming to South Africa.
Yeah.
Here at the Wild Coast after that.
Yeah, I think it's a great shot.
Yeah, I want to link up to what Nicole says just from a production perspective. I really think this is what distinguishes the South African franchise from the other international versions is we've seen Leroux implement ideas that come from the fans in the show. We're doing a local version now that's close to home, and it's nothing short of fantastic. I love the fact that we've got these tribal idols that are hidden that you need to find a tribal council. It's something that we started as a franchise that we're doing again now that we've seen some of the American versions also try to emulate. So yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And I love the fact that it's back on screen now. And we are the first franchise, at least the English version, to be first back on screen. So
that means and he's one of those. I mean,
we get a special tier for that vote bucket. What it is a real name for it?
Yes, the urn.
Skull with the urn. The skull with
man.
Next through the eyeballs. It's just next level art department.
Yeah, no, definitely. Guys, and that was all locally made in the Eastern Cape. That money was invested, like I've mentioned on the previous episode, in case you guys missed it, 106 people were hired by production, and 10 million rand was put back into the economy there. And it's just another fantastic thing. It's credit. And also Tribal Council, guys, that was all handmade by people in the Eastern Cape. It's absolutely unbelievable. 103 people, correction. I've got my admin person here correcting the host. There we go. 103 people, guys. Apologies for that. I embellish things. Yes, this is how you get people to join your alliance. You got to embellish a little bit, get them to buy into your story.
Oh, mistakes like that will get you your torch snuffed. The tribe will speak.
At least you'll have a nice torch to snuff, though. I mean, nothing to complain about.
Fair point. Okay. And on that note, guys, it's time to snuff this TNO torch. Thank you very much for joining us, Nicole and Hilgard. Wish you guys all the best and have a fantastic evening.
Thanks, guys.